today's video, we are going to be talking about why nurses eat their young. Stay tuned. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are already part of the family, for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Kiara Selena, and this is my channel, Nursing with Ki, where I mainly make nursing related videos, just sharing tips and tricks that I've learned along my journey to help you guys have the smoothest nursing journey. But we also recently started incorporating a bit of beauty and hair, so if you are into those things, please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and click on that notification bell so you won't miss another video from me again. So as mentioned in the beginning of the video, we are going to be talking about whether or not it is true that nurses really eat their young, and if so, why do they do it? For those of you who are new to nursing, you may have never heard the expression eating their young. And all that means, just to clarify it, is that is basically older nurses or more experienced nurses who bully newer nurses or new grad nurses who are just entering the field. So that just to clear the air and make sure everybody understands. Do nurses eat their young? Yes, some of them do. It's not all nurses, it's not all experienced nurses or all older nurses who eat their young, but some of them do, right? You will meet some fantastic nurses who are, just great people, who are great guiders, because, like as a more experienced nurse, when newer nurses come in, it's nice for you to kind of guide them. So you will meet some nurses who are just great at guiding, who are great at teaching, and who are just always open and happy to answering your questions. However, you will meet some nurses who will give you a cold shoulder, who will side eye you, who will make you kind of feel uncomfortable, who will make you feel incompetent, who will bully you, who will always try to get you in trouble. And some of you may be lucky and never meet nurses like that, and for you guys, I mean, like, that's awesome. But even me as a new grad nurse, I'm not even licensed yet, I'm still a pending licensed nurse. I've been working for 3 months as a nurse, as a pending licensed nurse, and I've already met some nurse bullies. And I kind of just looking and observing, I came up with a couple reasons why I personally think that they may be bullies. So the first one, and this is a really good one that I actually saw on Mercy Gono's channel. If you guys haven't seen her channel, make sure you go check her out. She's awesome. Like, she makes really good content. But she mentioned something, and it is insecurity, right? So some of these older nurses tend to be insecure because you may come in, a lot of us graduate, or go to nursing school and graduate very young. Like myself, I'm only 22 years old, and I'm, already through with nursing school for now. But you come into the field and you're young and you're fresh. And the analogy that Mercy Gono used in her video was she kind of related the nursing field to the media, or Hollywood, right? Where you have like older models and stuff who used to be super popping back in their day, but they're getting a bit older, and so the spotlight isn't really on them anymore. And then you have the newer, fresher models who are beautiful, and who kind of come and take that spotlight away from them, and so they start feeling threatened. So you come in and you're fresh and you're vibrant, and your brain is just like full of fresh information. You're more familiar with newer technologies because the medical field is constantly changing, right? Nurses from like 20 years ago, who went to school 20 years ago, they didn't learn the same things that we're learning now today, because things are always evolving. The medical field is always evolving. So sometimes they feel a little bit threatened by you for that reason. Another one, which is really silly, is that they think you're going to take their job. And honestly, I don't understand why they think you're going to take their job, because in a lot of places, in most places, things work by seniority, and they have 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years over you. And as a new nurse, it's not like you come in and you get like full-time hours right off the bat, unless you're lucky. But for most of us, that's not the case. We come in and most of us get like maybe 2 days a week, and then you're on recall, and you're basically just replacing the people who have seniority. So I don't know exactly why they think that you're going to take their job, where they're gonna get like kicked out or fired for you. I think it's really, really silly, but I hear that a lot. People are threatened by newer nurses because they just think like, that all of us are just gonna graduate and, all the older nurses are gonna get pushed out the door and the newer nurses are gonna come and take over. And that is so far from the truth, but I don't know why they think that. They just do. Another thing is that they are tired of being responsible or babysitting new nurses, which is another thing I think is really weird because, as a new nurse, you might be less experienced than they are, but you are not clueless, right? We did theory, we did clinicals, so it's not like you go in there with absolutely no idea of how things work. It's just that different hospitals have different protocols and different hospitals might use different machines or might do things a little bit differently, but it doesn't really take that long for you to kind of learn how things work. The overwhelming part as a new grad nurse might be learning how to handle like a large amount of patients because you're not used to doing that in nursing school. However, when it comes to like machines and papers and stuff like that, usually it's pretty standard everywhere you go. So it's not like they have to teach you how to be a nurse. You are a nurse. They just have to kind of guide you and show you how things work in that facility. And they see that as babysitting. And I feel like it's a little bit selfish of them as well because they were once in our position. They were once a new grad nurse, but a lot of people kind of forget where they come from. They forget that they were once in your shoes. They forget what it was like to be you. And they're just mean. I don't know what's wrong with them. The thing is nursing burnout. For those of you who have not been in the field for a long time, I mean, I've only been a nurse for 3 months now, a pending licensed nurse for 3 months now, but I've been a CNA for the past 2 years, so I've been in the field, and trust me, I know what the burnout is like. Maybe not nurse burnout, because nurse burnout is a little bit different from CNA burnout, because a CNA's job is a lot more physical, whereas a nurse's job is a lot more mental. Even though there are, you are still a little bit physical as a nurse, you're not as physical as the CNAs in terms of like, turning patients, changing patients, lifts and all of that. You're doing a lot more mental, like critical thinking, and you're on your feet a lot, you're doing a lot of procedures and stuff, but you're not really, y'all know what I mean, you're not as physical, right? Nurse burnout is real. Like, it is really, really real. And even 3 months in, I have felt nurse burnout, and I kind of had to lay back. I was so eager to make money, and I wanted to make all this money, and so every time I got hours thrown at me, I was taking them, and I was working ridiculous amount of hours and doubles. Sometimes I was doing triples, and I started feeling the burnout real quick. So imagine how they feel after doing that for 20 years. They're going crazy. They're like walking zombies at this point, and they're so burnt out and they're so tired. And when you're just so tired and you kind of just want to be left alone, you don't want to talk to anybody, you kind of just want to be in your own bubble, and then it's kind of like you're handed this new nurse that you kind of have to take care of, and when you just want to be by yourself, be in your own space, right? So that's another reason why nurses they're young, and it's not necessarily always because they are bad people. Some of them are just tired. And lastly, guys, just remember that outside of the hospital, people have their own lives outside, right? People may be going through a hard time. They might have just lost a family member. They might have just, they might be having problems at home, going through a divorce, a lot of things could be happening in their personal lives. And, some people aren't really good at keeping their personal life outside of their professional life. And so they carry the negative energy that they have at home into the hospital, and they kind of project that onto other people. So be a little bit considerate. I know it kind of sucks. It sucks to be a new nurse, and you kind of need that guidance a little bit, and you feel like you're being pushed away. But also just keep in mind that people may be going through their own things at work, at home. Sorry. Also, guys, it is not. People think that it's always nurses on nurses. Yo, CNAs eat their young too. They eat their young, right? So imagine, even me, it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable because I was working as a CNA for a while I was in nursing school, and I was always used to being delegated to by nurses, right? And then the tables switched, and then it's like, boom, all of a sudden I'm the nurse and I'm the one who has to delegate, right? And it can be a little bit awkward for you too as a nurse, but even for CNAs, sometimes they feel like, You know, you might have a CNA who's been there for 20 years and this person is 45 years old, and you just graduated school and you're like a 20-year-old, like fresh out of school nurse, and then you come and you're delegating to these people. They can be a little push offish sometimes. Like, who does this girl like think she is? Like, you know, she just graduated from nursing school, she doesn't know nothing, I've been here for 20 years. And they just feel like they don't see it as like delegation, because it's in our job description, literally, as nurses, like, we're supposed to delegate. Like, literally, it's in your scope of practice. Like, you delegate, right? You are supervising the CNAs. The CNAs are under you. It doesn't mean that you're smarter or better than them, but it's just you have a higher position. And so you have to kind of make sure that, you know, they're doing what they have to do and that like everything is going smoothly. But CNAs definitely do eat their young, especially when you're fresh out of nursing school and you're young and they've been there for a long time and you start kind of delegating to them. They can be really, really mean because they don't see it as, they don't know what it's like to be in a nurse's shoes. So they see it as, oh, she's trying to boss me around. So guys, don't get it twisted. It's not just nurse on nurse. CNAs are also mean to some nurses sometimes. So guys, if you are put in a situation where you have to deal with a mean nurse, do not be afraid to put your foot down. Like, honestly, don't be afraid to put your foot down. I am a new grad, I am young, and I've had to put my foot down and kind of stand my ground with some nurses who are way more experienced than me and way older than me, because sometimes they tend to think, they kind of treat you like you don't know anything. I'm not clueless. I'm a nurse just like you. You have experience over me, but I'm not an idiot either, right? And so I've had nurses who have tried to be mean to me, and I had to be like, look, like there was one nurse and literally every single time I came into work, she had a problem. I came in 15 minutes early. You need to be here 30 minutes early because she wants to leave 30 minutes early. Excuse me, who's paying me for that 30 minutes? Are you paying me for that 30 minutes? Are you paying me for that 30 minutes early that you want me to come into? My shift starts at 3:30. I don't even have to be here until 3:30 if I don't want to. But because I want to get my stuff organized and ready for my shift, I come in 15 minutes early. And also because I'm kind of taking you into consideration, right? I know you came in 15 minutes early for your shift. So like I'm coming in 15 minutes early to be nice to you, yes. But like to also get my stuff organized. And then you kind of want to boss me around every single time I come in. And I had to tell her, listen, don't talk to me if it's not about my patients. If you are not giving me a report or talking to me about my patients, if you have an issue with me, take it to the head nurse and let the head nurse take it up with me. I don't want to hear you anymore. Straight up. Like, I had to tell her that like that. And I also called the head nurse and I reported it. And also, don't be afraid to report things to the head nurse, right? And one thing one of my teachers always used to tell me was, she always used to tell me, make sure that you get your story to them before the other person gets the story to the head nurse. So right away, even while the nurse was still in the building, I called the head nurse and I was just like, look, this lady has been on my case for days now, like days, weeks now. She's been on my case. Every single time I come in, she has something to say to me. And I told her that I do not want to speak to her about anything other than my patients anymore. So if she has a problem, let her take it to you and you will take it up with me. And I explained the situation to her and the head nurse was very understanding. And it actually made me very happy because the head nurse started when she was my age. And she was just like, I know what it feels like to be a new nurse, right? And have all these older nurses trying to bully you and trying to talk to you. No, just because you're older and you're more experienced than me doesn't make you my boss. We are at the same level. Like our roles in this hospital is the same. You are not above me. You are just more experienced than I am. So you are in no place to be bossing me around and telling me do this and do that and come in this time. And no, that's not your place. So do not be afraid to put your foot down and report if needed, because I said this in my last video. A toxic, stressful environment is no place for a nurse to be working. When you have people's lives in your hands, you need a clear mind. And the last thing you need is to, come in happy, full of positivity, ready to bang out your day, and then have some angry, bitter, sour lady or man coming and giving you crap for whatever reason. No. Even if you have problems at home, it's like, yeah, you can kind of, you can keep quiet. If it's one time or two times, you can keep quiet and kind of ignore it. And, maybe, like I said, they may be having problems at home. So be a little bit considerate. But one thing I realized is that when you're too quiet, they start to get too comfortable and they start to take advantage of you a little too much. And then you have to kind of put a stop to it. Okay? You don't work for them. Like I said, you guys are on the same level. Your roles are the same in the hospital. So do not let no nurse come and stress you. Don't. And there was a quote or this post that another nurse friend of mine, your fave nurse B, if I could find it, I'm going to post it somewhere here. But it was basically along the lines of like, you are a nurse and you are needed, and you do not have to stay in an environment where you are bullied or where you are unhappy. Like, don't settle, right? A lot of people say like, you know, they tell you to settle. You do not have to settle as a nurse, right? Nurses are needed everywhere. So if you report it to the head nurse, you report it to your superiors and nothing is done about it, look somewhere else and move to the next. You're gonna have to do that a lot. Like I just made a video the other day of me of why I quit the hospital and went into long-term care. Sometimes you just have to keep it pushing. Anyways, guys, we've come to the end of the video. I've been talking for way too damn long, so I'm gonna cut it right now. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you won't miss another video from me again. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.